Hey there movie lovers, welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're heading back to the 1980s to revisit one of the most mischievous holiday classics ever made, Gremlins. This beloved film blended comedy, horror and Christmas cheer in a way no one had seen before, giving us adorable mogwai, terrifying transformations and a whole lot of chaos. But how much do you really know about what went on behind the scenes? So, if it's after midnight, don't feed the mogwai, and let's dive into 20 things you never knew about Gremlins. Chris Columbus didn't write Gremlins with the idea that it would actually be made. He wrote it as a spec script and writing sample, which eventually found its way into the hands of Steven Spielberg. Spielberg described it as one of the most original ideas he had come across in years, which was why he decided to purchase it. The original Gremlins script was significantly darker in tone. Early drafts featured scenes where the Gremlins ate Billy's dog and even decapitated his mother, hurling her head down the stairs. Steven Spielberg, director Joe Dante, and Warner Brothers all agreed that the violence should be toned down to make the film more suitable for family audiences. The filmmakers initially experimented with using monkeys to portray the Gremlins, an idea that quickly proved disastrous. Director Joe Dante recalled in 2014 that they had put a head on a monkey and watched it careen around the editing room, terrorized and leaving messes everywhere. It soon became clear that the approach was unworkable. Spielberg suggested expanding Gizmo's role in the film. Originally, the cute little mogwai was intended to transform into Stripe the Gremlin. However, Spielberg realized that audiences would want to see as much of Gizmo as possible, so they abandoned the idea of him becoming Stripe, ensuring that they remained entirely separate characters. At the film's end, Gizmo saves the day by opening up a window blind and exposing Stripe to sunlight. Initially, the sequence showed Gizmo lifting the first blind, followed by Billy opening another. Another Spielberg recommendation was changing this scene to make it clear that Gizmo, rather than Billy, is the true hero of the film. Voice actor Frank Welker, who voiced Stripe and had previously voiced Fred on Scooby-Doo, suggested that Howie Mandel be hired for the role of Gizmo. However, Mandel did not perform Gizmo's song. The piece was composed by Jerry Goldsmith, who enlisted a 13-year-old girl from his synagogue to sing it for the film. Michael Winslow, better known for creating the comedic sound effects in the Police Academy series, also contributed to voicing the Gremlins. Following the success of his short film Frankenweenie, there was considerable buzz surrounding Tim Burton, to the extent that Steven Spielberg considered him to direct Gremlins. However, Burton's lack of feature film experience worked against him, and the role ultimately went to Joe Dante. A year later, Burton released his first theatrical feature, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Emilio Estevez and Judd Nelson were considered for the role of Billy, but Spielberg chose Zach Galligan, impressed by the chemistry he displayed with Phoebe Cates during auditions. As there was no CGI at the time, the Gremlins were brought to life using animatronic puppets, each of which consumed a significant portion of the film's budget. Zach Galligan recalled that when leaving the set each night, security staff required the cast and crew to open their car boots to ensure no props had been taken. Creature designer Chris Wallace used balloons in a highly inventive way. They served as the secret visual effects element when a new mogwai was spawned, and he later used a balloon to simulate the gremlin exploding in the microwave. As a nod to the urban legend, Kate recounted how her father had died while dressed as Santa Claus and climbing down the chimney. When the rough cut was finished, both Spielberg and several Warner Brothers executives wanted the scene removed, as it was unclear whether it was intended to be tragic or humorous. Dante, however, argued that this ambiguity made it a perfect metaphor for the film itself, and insisted it remain. If the quaint, snow-dusted streets of Kingston Falls in Gremlins seem oddly familiar, there's a good reason for it. The fictional town was brought to life on the very same Universal Studios backlot that would later serve as Hill Valley in Back to the Future, released just a year after Gremlins. Gremlins is undoubtedly a Christmas movie and was originally scheduled for release during the festive season. However, when Warner Brothers realized they lacked a summer movie to compete with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Ghostbusters, they brought the release date forward. The film proved successful, ultimately becoming the fourth highest grossing movie of 1984, behind Beverly Hills Cop, Ghostbusters, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Decades after the original Gremlins captivated audiences, Zach Galligan and the lovable Mogwai Gizmo reunited on screen. The pair starred together in a playful advert for Mountain Dew, delighting fans with their nostalgic chemistry and reminding viewers of the enduring charm of the film. Secrets of the Mogwai is an animated television series that acts as a fascinating prequel to the 1984 classic. Set against the vibrant backdrop of 1920s Shanghai, the show delves into the origins of one of cinema's most beloved creatures, Gizmo. It follows the story of a young 10-year-old Sam Wing and the circumstances that led to his fateful encounter with the adorable Mogwai. This film is packed with references to other pop cultural works, including the Indiana Jones-style billboard, the time machine, Roddy the Robot from Forbidden Planet, and best of all, a scene featuring a gremlin in leg warmers parodying Jennifer Beals' iconic dance from Flashdance. The song accompanying the scene, Gremlins Mega Madness, was by Michael Sembello, who also performed Maniac, the theme from Flashdance. Incidentally, the convention scene contains cameos from Spielberg on the go-kart thing and composer Jerry Goldsmith in the other phone booth. Fans of Gremlins were treated to a delightfully mischievous piece of merchandise, a cereal inspired by the film itself. Branded with a cheeky warning, "Don't eat this cereal after midnight as it might try to kill you," the product perfectly captured the movie's blend of humour and horror. According to Chinese tradition, Mogwai are considered demons that often bring harm to humans. They are said to reproduce during the rainy season, as it is believed that rain heralds prosperous and abundant times ahead. In the 1990s, visitors to Germany or Australia could experience the Great Gremlin Adventure. The attraction began with clips of bloopers from classic Warner Brothers films, only to be interrupted as the Gremlins staged a takeover. In Australia, guests were treated to an appearance by Beetlejuice, while in Germany, a peculiar scene showed Alf being attacked by gremlins. For anyone hoping to see Alf and Gizmo together, this ride was the perfect opportunity. Steven Spielberg is pretty much responsible for the introduction of the PG-13 rating in the US. Both Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which he directed, and Gremlins, which he executive produced, were rated PG upon their release, and subsequently criticised for not being child-appropriate. To avoid being slapped with an R rating in the future, Spielberg suggested that the MPAA add a rating between PG and R. On August 10, 1984, Red Dawn became the first movie to be released with the new PG-13 rating. Although Gremlins did inspire a sequel, 1990's Gremlins 2: The New Batch, there has been considerable discussion in recent years about a reboot of the original. In a 2012 interview, Columbus appeared hesitant about the idea, explaining that he believed it would be impossible to recreate Gremlins in a CGI environment without losing some of its charm. He noted that the Gremlins were edgy Muppets brought to life by 25 puppeteers, and that their anarchic spirit was essential to the film's appeal. However, by August 2017, Columbus seemed to have changed his stance, revealing that he had completed a script for a third installment. He described it as twisted and dark as anything, and emphasized his intention to return to the darkly playful tone of the first movie. Nothing is set in stone yet though, so whether it will ever come to fruition remains to be seen. And there you have it folks, you now know a little bit more about Gremlins. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one, bye for now.